There's two things: sour cream, and I don't like bagels.
Hey, everybody, welcome on back. It's the You Got to Try This podcast with me, Larch. Ian is behind the ones and twos. I'm getting a couple more Ian consistently comments. Who's Ian? I get that consistently now. Some people DM me. If they don't put in his comments, they DM me. And I tell people on DMs that you're my son. I don't know why I do. But yeah, so for people who don't know, will we have a producer cam live at any point?
I think this episode you might be able to see me.
Okay. So for people, I will back up for people who have that question. I think most people know by now, but Ian is horribly disfigured at birth. So we don't put him on camera that much because he's just really tough to fucking look at. Ian is one of the guys that started with the Barstool Viceroy program when he was in college. When he got hired full-time after college, the reason he got hired full-time after college is because he built up Barstool Finance into a considerable social media presence. That's what he had done while he was in college. And so when he was hired here, I'd worked with him with Barstool Finance. By the way, Nate's in my fucking head. I'm talking with my hands a lot on this podcast. For everyone who's listening to this on wherever you listen to your podcast, thank you so much. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I apologize. I turned into a fucking breakdancer for some reason. By the way, I still got that shit a little bit, right? So Ian is one of those guys who has been with us through Barstool Finance. And then he works actually on the third floor, or used to work on the third floor, mostly doing just about everything. He was working with the Barstool store and any projects, they would send him to do projects, whether he was covering social media, all that stuff. But since we had a relationship from Barstool Finance, we were just talking about food, and he's like, I'll fuck around with it. I'll help produce whatever the hell you want to do, because he kind of believes in the idea of me going out there and telling people what's good, or just talking to people about what they think is good. And so that's it. So we're not related at all, Ian and I. I'm certainly old enough to be his dad. Ian is a single, handsome, young guy living in Hoboken. And I am an old, fat, married guy who lives in Ridgewood, New Jersey. So we're about 40 minutes away from each other geographically where we live. That's all you got to know about Ian, I think, right?
And our palates couldn't be more different.
Oh, God. Yeah. Favorite food? Grilled cheese. I know the fucking answer to that. My favorite food, you have no idea, because I have an adult palate. So I don't just eat grilled cheese. But either way, so that's the mystery behind Ian. I'll get right into it with the 5-star reviews. Leave a comment. Please do that. Wherever you're listening or watching this, if you could leave some sort of comment and a 5-star review, the comment can be a question to us, and then we'll address those questions, at least one a week, every week. I don't think I did the right thing last week. I think I kind of glazed over one. I'm going to do a couple of questions this week, so I'll bang those out in a couple of seconds. Nate was on last week, and I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't know what to expect from Nate, because every time I have conversations with Nate, there's always innuendo and joking around, dad jokes from my side, dad jokes kind of from his side. So you just never know what you're going to get when you have people sitting down to talk about food. I was expecting it to be good, because I actually like Nate. I thought it was a lot better than I expected. He was just, I don't know, I found him to be interesting. I find everybody to be extremely uninteresting until I talk to them about something that I love. And then, so that's what I'm doing here. And I thought Nate came through with flying colors. So I appreciate him coming on. I appreciate everybody coming on. We're trying to figure out what we want this show to look like. Right? We're trying to figure out what we want this show to look like. So is it one of those things where I just get on here and talk and recap my week, what the best dish I made this week was, the restaurants that we're going to, trends, headlines? Yeah, we definitely want to do that. Do I want to pull in people from the industry like Chef Greeny or Stratus Morphigan and talk to them about actually making and selling food? Yeah. Do I want to have random people from outside of Barstool, like Lisa Ann, like Nick Mangold, just kind of come in here and tell us what they feel about food and drink and all that kind of stuff? Yes. But there's also the opportunity here at Barstool to talk to random people, to people who are celebrities, not necessarily to me, not necessarily to Ian, but we have a lot of celebrities walking in and out of the door here. So today I'm grabbing one. I'm going to grab one and basically just sit down and talk to a kid, 25-year-old kid. His name is Tucker Wetmore. He's like this rising country music superstar. And And he was coming in. And so one of the other producers here, John Kelly, who's a very close friend of mine, had said, I've done some work with this kid. He's an interesting cat. And I think you guys would gel and get along very well, especially in this new format with this show. So I was like, fuck it. Let's take him. And then selfishly, Ian goes, he's got 1.2 million followers on TikTok. He's got 660,000 followers on Instagram. That filters into it, right? Because he asks these people to collaborate on stuff. Some people are nice enough to do it. Some people whose names I won't mention aren't as nice or as willing to collaborate. I don't know why that is. But so anyway, I'm going to have a gentleman come in here. His name is Tucker Wetmore. And he's going to sit down with me, do like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that, and just kind of break it apart. I know a little bit about the kid. I did some research on it, listened to some of his music. Everything seems like on the up and up. He's not a front for the mob or anything. So we're going to have him come in and just kind of fuck around with us. I think I should just do some of those letters. I'm going to do some of the things just to show you that we're not lying. So Ian sends me, you sent me a bunch this week. How many did you send me?
I do send them beforehand. I know he likes to say I don't, but
I don't read them beforehand. That's my problem. Yeah, okay. So Ian's got to defend himself because he, whatever. Yeah, I don't read them as much as I should. But all right, first one. Hey, this show is phenomenal. This show is phenomenal. So the person who sent this is Mike from Bensonhurst.
Are you leaving yourself reviews?
I don't know. You know what? I'm looking at his name, his handle too, so I can see his last name. I don't want to out him. It's no big deal, but he's an Italian guy, so which I'm not. So Mike from Bensonhurst. That's what I went right to, by the way, in this whole thing. Loving the show already. Well done, Large and Ian. Always love to hear the little Brooklyn shout outs during the pod. What up, Brooklyn? Question: Roland Roaster or Brennan and Carr? Keep killing it, gents. Signed, Mike from Bensonhurst. Mike from Bensonhurst. Right to the fucking, gets me right in the aorta. Roland Roaster versus Brennan and Carr. Brooklyn is a magical, wonderful place that everybody should experience. And when you do experience, you're probably going to go to Dumbo and hang out with all the, the hipsters, if that's still a word, that whole deal. But the other side of Brooklyn, the place where me and Mike from Bensonhurst come from, the ass end of Brooklyn, I think is 10 times more fascinating and also feels like a fucking neighborhood. So what he's talking about is on Nostrand Avenue and Avenue U is a roast beef shop called Brennan and Carr. Most people probably have heard about it because it is iconic. It was on that corner on Avenue and Nostrand Avenue since that was a dirt road. There's some pictures up in Brennan and Carr of horse-drawn carriages kind of pulling people by, getting roast beefs and whatnot. Roland Roaster, also an institution, and it's in the heart of Sheepshead Bay, right off the water in Sheepshead Bay. And Roland Roaster hasn't been around as long as Brennan and Carr, but it's also a great fucking story. And I'm going to break this down. So Roland Roaster is roast beef sandwiches, also burgers, fries. If you spend, I think it was $40 or $50 there, they give you free pizza, and the free pizza they give you should never be paid for. It's fucking awful. I think because they're giving away terrible free pizza in Brooklyn, a lot of people will be like, nah, I don't want it. They turn away free fucking pizza, because it's basically just a glorified Totino's. Don't judge Roland Roaster on that because the rest of the food is absolutely sound. And I've been going there forever also. When I was a kid, Roland Roaster was all girls behind the counter. There was all girls behind the counter. There's a very fond memory. And all the girls wore brown berets, white t-shirts, and brown aprons. That I think is still the uniform for Roland Roaster. But back in the day, they only hired girls with big tits. That was their deal. And so whenever you went there, and they're open late, so you go there for like a late roast beef sandwich, and some girl, you're kind of watching her pump the cheese and you're getting a little bit hot because of that. And everything is very, very good. I loved the vibe of it. I went to Roland Roaster about a month ago, late at night, and it was still a scene. Couple of fights in the fucking place. But I noticed that those brown aprons are now being filled out by people that they probably wouldn't have hired back in the day. Body positivity, thank God that they're doing it, I guess. But Roland Roaster and Brennan and Carr is the head-to-head matchup for people who grew up in my neighborhood. And I will tell you, Brennan and Carr wins for me. And the reason Brendan and Carr wins for me, even though I've had a ton of fun and a ton of good meals in Roll and Roaster, and I'm going to go to Roll and Roaster again for the rest of my life, Brendan and Carr is just better. I used to walk to Brendan and Carr to get the cups of their broth whenever I was sick. That's how close it was to the house I grew up in, the house my parents still live in. And I just like the food there better. It's two totally different scenes. It's like Formica tables at Roll and Roaster. Brendan and Carr, it's more like pull up a stool type shit. Shorts of ice cold Budweiser. I love the roast beef sandwich at Brendan and Carr. I'm not as big of a fan as the Gargiulo special that they have there, where they take a burger, then they put the roast beef on top of it. But I love the broth. I love a big dip. So even though both of them hold very special places in my plaque-laden heart, Brendan and Carr wins by a nose. That's Mike from Bensonhurst. So I appreciate that. And 4-star review with the show is phenomenal is one that I'm going to read right away.
Just to clarify, that was a 5-star review. We don't read 4-star reviews.
Oh, I say 4-star? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. What am I thinking 4-star? Hotels. No, it's 5-star hotels?
Yeah.
It is, right? I got up my game. That was a typo. Great pod. This is Craig B. I'm reading that. Love all the Large podcasts. Large, have you ever been to Charleston, South Carolina? About 2 hours from Darlington. You can knock out a Racer Rubbin and YGTT. Great food scene in a long weekend. Are you going to do one of these with Clem and visit Costco finally? And finally, bring back Podfathers. Yeah, so I'll answer the first question. Have I ever been to Charleston, South Carolina? No. If you ask me what city in the United States, if I had to do a 3-day weekend in tomorrow, where would I go? Charleston, South Carolina is number 1 on the list. That's why I'm reading this. I saw Charleston, South Carolina. Number 1 on the list. That's the place I want to go. I guess it's low country, shrimp and grits, all that kind of stuff. Every time I see footage or anything in Charleston, South Carolina, it seems like a place I just want to walk around and experience the city. I was in Charlotte a couple of weeks ago. I almost was expecting, I've been to Charlotte a couple of times because of the racing. I almost expected Charlotte to have a Charleston feel, but Charlotte is a much bigger city, it seems, as far as industry and whatnot, maybe. And it didn't have that for me. If you put a gun to my head, I'm going to tell you, honestly, I was a little disappointed in Charlotte. Had that great meal at Sunflower, which we've been getting a ton of feedback on. That Sunflower clip ripped. I was in Charlotte with my wife for the Earnhardt documentary premiere. They were premiering this documentary, a 5-part series on Dale Earnhardt Sr. That's on Amazon right now. You should check it out. And I had Dale and his sister in to interview right here. And after we were done, we were talking to his sister, and I said how the parallels between her and my wife are extraordinary. Like my wife had lost her dad 9/11, and the way her wife, she had lost her dad at the Daytona 500, that these girls, women now, basically on the anniversary of their dad's death, have to watch footage of their dads dying. Like every 9/11, for better or for worse, and I don't want anyone to ever forget 9/11, but my wife does watch the plane that hit her father hit into the building where her father was multiple times every year. And there is no comp for that. If you're unlucky enough to have a loved one die in a car wreck, there's a very slim chance that once a year they show the security footage of that car plowing into your make-believe aunt. You know what I mean? But Kelly Earnhardt Miller and Ann Harvey McCarthy both get that every year. And we were talking we got really into it. And at the end of the interview, she was like, "This is the best interview I've ever done. I would love to invite you and your wife down to the premiere." And then Dale's like, "Yeah, Large, come on down." And so I mentioned to my wife, she's like, "Let's fucking go." We didn't even stay for the race. Went down for the Thursday premiere, had dinner that night with a gentleman named Freddie Kraft and his lovely wife, Megan. Freddie's a spotter for Bubba Wallace. And then the next morning before we went to the airport, I went to this place, the Sunflower Restaurant, and I had liver mush, which is sort of like it's not the same as Scrapple. It's not the same as Geta. But it's in that family. It's in that family. Like not every, but some cultures have sausages and breakfast meats that other people just don't understand. Black pudding, morcilla, the blood sausages. There are certain things that people see and they just don't understand. Liver mush is one of them. It has to have at least 30% pig's liver in it. And it's basically a mush that they fry into a square patty, and you eat it. Some people eat it with grape jelly. I didn't do the jelly thing. I just did a little bit of a hot sauce and some egg yolk, and I thought it was delicious. So that experience in Charlotte was great, but I thought that Charlotte would give me that experience on every corner, and it didn't. And maybe I just went to the wrong places. So if there's Charlotte people out there who want to defend it, give me a list for next time I'm down there, because I am a NASCAR guy. So I go down to Charlotte at least once or twice a year. And I would love to know where I should go, because a lot of the locals there were pointing me to places like the Capitol Grill and, high-end chains, but still chains, nothing that felt Charlotte-y. Charleston, to me, sounds like one of those places where I'm only going to go where people, it's like real family-owned type stuff. So Charleston is one that I haven't been to, but it's number one on my list right now. I'm almost embarrassed to tell you what number 2 is, but I think I've mentioned it before. It's fucking Cincinnati. For some reason, I want to go and destroy Cincinnati. I want to go Grater's Ice Cream, Montgomery Inn, the whole Geta, the pig's heart sausage. Geta is one of those things that they do for breakfast. I want to destroy Cincinnati. So it's kind of weird. The second part, about 2 hours from Darlington, you can knock out a race. Absolutely. Are you going to do one of these, an episode of You Got to Try This with Clem? Yes. Yes, I am. Clem is one of my favorite people, not at Barstool. He's one of my favorite people in the world. So we were supposed to do an episode 2 weeks ago. Then life got in the way. I think I was traveling, or he was traveling, or his availability here hinged on the New York Knicks, right? So how far the Knicks went to playoffs, didn't go far enough. Clem didn't have to come in for it. So then we had to cancel. So Clem is definitely on the list. I love that son of a bitch. And for people who don't know, Clem and I had hosted a podcast called The Podfathers alongside Kevin had started it. Kevin had those headlines with his wife. So he said, "Hey, Large, can you take this over for me?" And I said, sure, because he seemed a little bit hypocritical. Chaps was involved with it also. And so Clem was the guy who was there the whole time. I think Chaps had a couple of breaks from the show. Kevin obviously had his break from the show. I came in last. Clem was the guy. Clem was the podfather. So, and we used to talk about parenting and whatnot. Had good numbers, all that kind of stuff. But it's just one of those ones that they asked for us to do other things. I don't understand it. So can we get Clem on this show? Yes. Clem will be on the show and we're going to talk about it. I won't have any other guests or any of this bullshit beforehand. It's just me and Clem talking about food the whole time. I took Clem to his fucking vasectomy. We had it sponsored by Manscaped. I went into his bathroom. I shaved his balls, took him to his vasectomy. When he got out, I had a cone, one of those cones that you give to your dogs so they don't lick their balls. I had one of those waiting for him. We taped the whole thing. We're good friends. I love his wife. I love his kids. Definitely be on the show. Whether or not I go to Costco is up to fucking Clem. Clem wanted to take me to Costco, and I will put his feet to the fire again when he comes in here, because I've never been to Costco. I've just never been to Costco. The place fascinates me. It's something that I can easily, check off my bucket list. But for some reason, I decided to wait for Clem, and we are going to get this done. So Clem will be here. I'll try to get to Costco, and I'll try to get to Charleston, South Carolina. I appreciate the 5-star review from Krieg B. I'm going to do a couple of these, right? Just because if you're going to send them in, I want to make sure that you get some sort of shine. Let's see. Well, this one from Sam Shan. Large even makes Nate sound interesting. That's a fucking title right there. I know he's saying it tongue in cheek. I can listen to Large talk to a paper bag. Always love the shows and enjoy the natural flow of conversation. Not food related, but what happened to the old episodes of Barstool Finance? Ian, this is a perfect fucking question for you. I know Tyler left, but were the episodes scrubbed? Can't find them anywhere. Thanks.
The episodes have been scrubbed.
They have been scrubbed.
Yes.
So the thing is that Tyler came in and we bought his newsletter, The Water Coolest, which I still read every morning. I do. I still read The Water Coolest. Sign up. It's free. It's a really easy 4-minute read when you're taking your morning, dump. And why did they get scrubbed?
because we were starting this show, and now this podcast feed is all food.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what about on YouTube and stuff? No?
All the socials, YouTubes, everything. We passed that over to Tyler, had to scrub everything from there, all the branding.
Okay. So that was because Barstool Finance, the family office, was a little bit of a unicorn, right? We had brought Tyler in to do something else. We just wanted to do more with the finance vertical. So he had asked me to get involved and Ian. And Brendan Clancy was involved for a while. So we were able to put on this weekly show, Family Office. Tyler and I had thrown a couple $grand in a piece. We created this small little fund. We were traded back and forth. It was a ton of fun. But to Ian's point, when Tyler had then left, and again, he's still doing water coolers, check it out. He got all of that with him. And then the stuff that was left on the feed for some of the podcasts, the audio in particular, then got replaced with You Got to Try This. And it got replaced with You Got to Try This because it just makes our life easier than opening up a new podcast feed that's going to go to Spotify and Apple and all that, blah, blah, blah. So if you can just scrub and then go in, it's cheaper and easier for us to do that. So maybe Tyler would have these things somewhere archived on YouTube or something, but otherwise I wouldn't know how to get it. You have to hit up that guy. I speak to him every now and again. I'm not saying it in a weird way, but so Tyler's still my man.
And you would know if we had the old episodes because I would be posting clip after clip of me saying how Bitcoin is going to the moon.
Yeah. This is not the right day then for you to have that fucking camera working because a gloating Ian is the worst fucking Ian. And by the way, you didn't invent Bitcoin. What's the guy's name? Satoshi?
Yeah,
exactly. You talk about Bitcoin like you were in there from fucking pennies. You know what I'm saying, E?
No, by all accounts, I was super late. Like
Right.
But
you were super right.
The whole run in COVID, that like the real run up came when you guys were in HQ2.
Yes.
I remember a bunch of guys in the office were like invested in Bitcoin. Some guy named who was that guy who had Bitcoin in his name? Bitcoin Marty.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And it's the only winner that Nate had. Yes. Nate was also a guy who's been pounding the table on Bitcoin for a while. I think somebody else here had won a coin in one of those bracket challenges for March Madness or whatever the hell it is. Maybe Tommy or one of those guys won at least part of a Bitcoin. All right, we're going to do one more. So those two that I just did I just do two? Yes. I think those from Apple Podcasts. I'll do some of the ones from Spotify too. And again, if I didn't get to yours, I'll try to get to them at some point, but it's not going to be just a call-in show. This is from another Mike. These might all be my burners now that I'm thinking about it. Large is an Italian-American New Yorker. I appreciate good Italian food. What are your true thoughts on carbone? I know it's trendy, but if you can afford it, I think it's pretty damn good compared to these BS Michelin star places. Only restaurant I've been to that brings out complimentary Sambuca with their espresso, which just reminds me of Christmas Eve. Great wine list. He's a sommelier, which is cool. And food that pairs great with it, in my opinion. So that's from Mike asking me my opinion on carbone. Yeah, I'll tell you, we had gone to Carbone. The first time I'd gone to Carbone was in Vegas. We had taken the guys from DAZN out in Vegas. We had a huge run with DAZN a couple of years ago where I was just doing every fight after fight after fight. And then Dave and Dan had done color at Canelo versus Triple G, the third one. So we were really great business partners, still good business partners with them, but that was when they were really trying to use us to pump up their visibility, especially here in the States. So we had taken a ton of people from DAZN out for a meal that was so fucking expensive. When the bill hit the table, I was like, holy shit. I think the bill was like 19 grand. It's that's just a bigger bill. But again, huge table, all that kind of stuff. I was ordering the wine, and we had a very good meal, but it was for being my first dip of the toe into Carbone. I wasn't overly impressed, but there was so many other things going on that, I don't think I got the real experience. They put us in a private room, which they kind of rushed us out of, the whole deal. So I didn't come in with a good taste in my mouth. I went back to the one in Vegas with my son, Mick. He had just started at Alabama. Annie and I were in Vegas for something. For another fight. So we took Mick out to Vegas to go to the fights with us. And I took him to Carbone just because it was his first year in Alabama and he was just missing Italian food. He was missing going to visit my parents in Brooklyn and going to Michael's, going to Randazzo's, going to all these places. And I had a great experience. Like the waiter had, was talking to us and he had seen how much my son loves rainbow cookies. My son got up to use the men's room when he came back, brought over some more free rainbow cookies on top of, the Zambuca anisette that this gentleman is talking about with us. They just did a very good job. And I think the spicy rigatoni is becoming an iconic New York dish. I know that. It's a very good dish. You fast forward to a couple of months ago, I'm in South Beach and I take my family again. I didn't do a video on it. Like I don't necessarily video every place that I go to eat. Maybe I should. I should become like a real 24-hour social media whore. Like walk around with a fucking selfie stick. But got dressed up. And we had the other two kids, Finnegan and Bridge, and Annie and I stayed with them in South Beach. We went to Carbone for dinner and we had another fucking wonderful dinner. And to this gentleman's point, you can talk about Rayo's all you want. And I like going to Rayo's. I love going to Rayo's, I should say. I like Rayo's food. I love Rayo's. I like Rayo's food. Carbone, I really like Carbone's food. And to this gentleman's point, the atmosphere, the music playing, the service, all that stuff matches the food being that good. There were some hit or misses that I had on the menu. There are hit or misses on the menu. So it's not a perfect menu by any stretch of the imagination, but the wine list is absolutely solid to this gentleman's point, which isn't tough to do when you're charging their prices, right? You can get some expensive and good wines in there. But yeah, I'm not a Carbone hater, but I will tell you, I've never been to Carbone in New York City. I've only been to South Beach. I've only been to Las Vegas. So perhaps I'm the fraud. Perhaps I'm the guy that can't comment on this because if I do go to one in New York City, is it going to be one of those things where I have 30 people like this the whole time? The selfie stick people that I know. Are you about to flex on me right now? Because you seem very fucking puffed up. It's not a Bitcoin thing, right?
I was just surprised to hear that you've never been to Carbone in New York because I have.
Okay, you have, right? Yeah,
not a big deal.
Okay. When did you go and who'd you go with?
My brother got the reservation. He got it. It was 11:30 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
About the only time you could get a reservation, and I was frankly blown away.
You loved it.
I had some. I know you talk a lot about perfect bites where you create like
I do.
Different. You mix and match different.
Some of my favorite things.
About like 10 to 15 perfect bites at Carbone.
Really? All right. So take that with a grain of salt again, grilled cheese. But I mean, that's a good confirming thing. So I didn't go to Carbone here in New York for the reason that a lot of people may not like it. I didn't go because I didn't want to go to, when I jumped to go to Fort Charles, I felt like it was a little bit of a different atmosphere. I never did that jump to go to Carbone here in New York, but one in South Beach and the one in Vegas have both been very good to me and my family. I can't say anything bad about it. But I will say what jumps out to me about Mike's question here reminds me of Christmas Eve. That's such a great Italian thing to say. Say reminds me, I'm Irish. I'm as Irish as Paddy's pig. My dad speaks with a brogue. My name is Michael McCarthy. My dad's name is Cornelius. My mom's name is Veronica. I mean, everybody, we have all these, I'm big time Irish. I wish I was Italian. Honestly, I get up on Sunday morning, I make a Sunday sauce. I say it all the time. I've never jumped out of bed at 11 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday and rushed down to make a shepherd's pie. But I love the idea of having some Louis Prima on in the background, opening up some opici and sitting down and just cooking Italian food and serving it. I think that they have got it to a point where they have perfected making people feel like their family, which I know goes back to the whole Olive Garden bullshit I talked to with Nate about. But for this gentleman who seems like he knows his way around a menu or a wine list to say it feels like Christmas Eve, man, it hits it right on the fucking head. When you get excellent service and very good food and you're in like great music in a family-ish kind of setting, but you got to get a little bit dressed up for it, that's Christmas Eve, man. And that's a good way to, Jim Gaffigan calls things McDonald's. He'll say, oh, that's McDonald's. That's McDonald's. And whatever that means to him. But to have this guy say that this here reminds him of Christmas Eve, I'm going to start using that a little bit. I'm going to start using that a little bit. I'll do one more. This is from Granola Joe 2 weeks ago. This is also from Spotify. Large, have you ever been to Barcelona's in Garfield, New Jersey? This was a staple for my family as a child. I remember it being great, but I haven't been in at least 15 years. We get a lot of it. This guy's probably Italian too. Granola Joe, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. This would be a terrible fucking question if I was simply to say, no, I've never been to Barcelona's, right? Like, why pull that out of the hat? I've been to Barcelona's. Barcelona's has been around for over 100 years, and it's a place. Dave had gone there. David gone there to do the pizza. I think he gave it like I don't know, in the mid 7s. But back before Dave was, I think Dave has been a little more not lax. Obviously, he's been busy as all fucking hell. But I think Dave has been a little bit more generous with his pizza reviews, or he's just going to a better class of pizza places lately. Like, he's not going to the shit places, because I'm seeing a lot more whenever Dave, the pizza review things that Dave does is the Rosetta Stone for food content here in Barstool Sports. I don't know what witch doctor he went to, but he is in an algorithm better with those pizza reviews than anything that I've ever encountered. I cannot take a dump without seeing Dave. I can't, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm not on Facebook, but I know a lot of people watch him on Facebook, and any other thing. Pizza reviews rip. Some people who don't know him for his crazy antics here at Barstool only know him as the pizza guy. Like, some older people just know him as the pizza guy. They don't also know him as the dude who, you know, got into a heated argument with one of his employees and blew up the internet last week, or, you know, saved a bunch of small businesses to the tune of $50 or $60 million during the pandemic, or a guy who wants to save every fucking stray dog in the world. Like, Dave has got, he's an onion and a bunch of layers, but at the very least, everyone knows him as the pizza guy. So that's why I mentioned his reviews when he had gone to Garfield. That must have been a big deal for this place. Gave him in the mid 7s, but said that he loved the feel of the place. And I don't review things on a scale of 1 to 10, because I don't want to be that derivative of Dave. And also, I just don't like doing that shit. But Garfield's is very, very good. You haven't been there in 15 years. I haven't been there in 2 or 3 years. It's a small place. It has a payphone. It has a payphone in it that my kids took pictures with, like they took pictures with the skeleton of the T-Rex at a museum, because this thing is such a fucking dated, antiquated piece of machinery. And it's got a Christmas Eve feel. It's got, it's a red sauce joint. The red sauce is sweet and simple, and it's good. They don't necessarily, go any kind of haute cuisine or anything. They stay in their lane. So it's the type of place where you order more appetizers than you do entrees. It's an old school bar that probably won't be able to give you a Screamin' Viking with the cucumber slightly bruised, but it's a place that'll serve you up in Manhattan, or a tiny little martini that will knock your fucking socks off. So you haven't been there in 15 years. I will do the legwork. That's my vow to you, Granola Joe. I'll take my wife and kids. I will head to Garfield, you lazy fuck, and I will sit down just to make sure that Barcelona's is still good. But I will tell you off the jump, I have nothing but fond memories of the place, so I hope it's good. I'm hoping that it's still good. I hope that it didn't, switch owners, or all of a sudden get hit with whatever the fuck people are getting hit with, tariff pricing. I think that's probably all we're going to do right now. Edwin Moses Sakal sends in, La Segunda is where you want to go for a Cuban in Tampa. I'm a Miami guy, though. The Cuban started in Tampa. Miami perfected it. Those are fighting words, because I did go and thought that when I did the Cuban review at Margone first, where I dipped in the oxtail gravy, people told me, you didn't have a real Cuban. You have to go to Florida. I said, okay. Went down to South Beach, and I went to, what the fuck was the name of the place I went to? Can you bring that up? What's the place in, why is it, it's leaving me right now. Anyway, so I went down to South Beach, and I had what I thought was the greatest Cuban in the world. And it was just soup to nuts, everything I had there. The pan con bistec, and everything was great at this old school place. And people came after me. That's not a real Cuban either. Even though you're in Florida, you got to go to Tampa and it's got to have salami on it and all that stuff. What was it?
Puerto Sagua.
Puerto Sagua. I think they pronounce it Porto Sagua or something. Either way. So that's where I had gone and I had a delicious one. So I will tell you right now, Edwin Moses Sakal, La Segunda was one of the places along with Sanguich that people had told me that I had to go to in Miami, and Porto Sagua won out. So there was just Sophie's choice. I can only do one and stay married. If I eat too many Cubans and then share a room with my wife, the sheets are fucking moving. So I'll give it a whirl next time. La Segunda. If you think it's better in Porto Sagua, I will fuck around with that next time I'm in South Beach. All right. Those are ones that we're going to answer. Again, I think that worked out well. Thank God it worked out well, because the last one I didn't go to. So, so keep sending them in. Send them in with any kind of questions that you have, as long as they have 5-star reviews. If you try to come at me with that 4-star shit because I made a mistake earlier, I will fucking toss that so quickly. But I appreciate everybody who's listening, everybody who sends it in. So again, we have this young gentleman coming in to fuck with us today. His name is Tucker Wetmore, and he's, one of country's rising stars. Country music has had like a real kick in the pants lately because it's just getting bigger. It's getting bigger. Country music, I still call it country western, has had its peaks and valleys throughout the years. And I think that they're, nearing one of their peaks again, because we have some of the biggest stars in the world represented from country, and they're coming from all walks of life. And I think Tucker's going to be a good example of that, because he's a guy who's from Washington State, which I don't know much about. I've never stepped foot in Washington State. So talked to him about that. Moved to Nashville and became a country star. That's something I don't know much about either. Just going to talk to him about that. And then, look, I'm getting a call from Eileen at McMurphy's. McMurphy's Pub in Ridgewood, New Jersey is a good Irish bar. I mentioned it once years ago, and we used to have a guy working for us in Chicago. His name was Carl, Barstool Carl, who's still doing some stuff on his own. He's a big baseball guy. Carl's one of my favorite people. I love the fucking dude. And he's like, holy shit, did you say McMurphy's in Ridgewood? Very good onion soup. His former life, he was an accountant of some type, and he had to, spend some time in northern New Jersey with some company that, I don't know, he was I don't know what the fuck he was doing. He's like, I would go to McMurphy's every day just by coincidence. And Eileen, that's where I'm going to have my son's graduation party. So she said to me. So, and you know who's flying in for my son's graduation party? Zah.
Oh,
this is
nice.
Vateda Shemedza. I can't have a family party without Zah showing up. So if you ever come to a McCarthy family party, everybody's bloated and, uncomfortably sunburned, and Irish as all fuck. And there's also a dwarf from Zimbabwe, and who's probably in a full dashiki or whatever the fuck they call it. And so I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I can't pick up Eileen right now, but I will get back to her. And that's it. Let's hit a couple of headlines, and then we'll talk to Tucker, right? How are we doing on time? We're fine, right?
Yeah.
I got a little bit of a complaint. I like Dr. Pepper. How do you feel about Dr. Pepper?
Don't drink soda.
You don't? Okay, here we go.
Full stop.
Okay.
No soda.
Why is that? Because it's unhealthy?
The carbonation.
Really? Carbonation kind of gets you?
Yep.
Okay, good. I do. Like, I'm a soda freak, right? I don't really have a horse in the race. I drink Pepsi. I love Pepsi. I think it makes food taste better. I'll have whatever else at, fountain sodas are the shit for me. Sometimes I cut it with a little bit of seltzer if it's too sweet. But Dr. Pepper has always been on the menu for me. I like Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper now has 17 fucking flavors. When are we going to stop this, Ian? When are we going to stop Oreos that are Kit Kats that taste like this, that taste like... There's so many fucking flavors now. I'm overwhelmed. I went in to get a fucking Snapple iced tea at the deli across the street. I can't even find out a plain old Snapple. 0 sugar, peach, raspberry, blah, all this shit. So if I go to a, gas station to get a Dr. Pepper, you can now get a Dr. Pepper. You can get a Dr. Pepper cherry vanilla. You can get a Dr. Pepper vanilla float. You can get a Dr. Pepper cherry. You can get a Dr. Pepper dark cherry, which it seems like they're doing because of the new Jurassic World that's coming out. Dr. Pepper berries and cream, Dr. Pepper creamy coconut, Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream, Dr. Pepper cream soda, Dr. Pepper blackberry, Dr. Pepper fantastic chocolate, which actually sounds very good. I'm fucking reading it. And then they offer 6 of those as zero sugar options. So right now, little old Dr. Pepper with its, I think the 23 ingredients or whatever, it has 17 fucking flavors. I think, who the fuck is drinking all this shit? Frank?
You just waxed so kindly and poetically about your good friend Clem. The Snack Boys, this is...
Snack Boys, right in their wheelhouse. Yeah.
These are fighting words.
Yeah, and for Frank, because he does soda reviews, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder how many of these Frank has done.
I was going to say, people are going to stop making these once people stop reviewing them, which doesn't seem to be anytime soon.
Yeah, I guess it's true. And I'm the problem. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm being hypocritical again because I want to try fantastic chocolate Dr. Pepper. I got to be honest with you. I think I want to try the vanilla float one too. Both sides of the fucking spectrum. Shit. Yeah, that's why they have it. Because I answered my own question. We had highlighted a minor league team a couple of weeks ago that changed their temporary mascot. You know, when they do that like temporary mascot thing, they changed theirs to the Alabama white sauce. So, which I love. Alabama white sauce, one of my favorite condiments, barbecue sauce that's got a mayonnaise base as opposed to a mustard, a ketchup, or a vinegar base that you find in other regional sauces. And it started in Alabama white sauce. I put it on chicken, I put it on pork, I put it on just about anything. Go.
Let's make a distinction between Alabama white sauce and the Coney Island whitefish.
Yeah, I know. They both roll off the tongue. People are just new to gotta try this. Coney Island whitefish are used condoms outside of the cyclone in Coney Island. Once it starts to rain, they go down the gutter as if they're small fishes. Also, what's the name of the bar? My buddy's Duff's Bar. Duff's Bar in downtown Brooklyn does a shot called the Coney Island whitefish. Duff's Bar, it's a rock and roll, like heavy metal bar in Brooklyn. I worked with a gentleman named Bill Duff. His brother, who's a big time like metal dude, owns a bar called Duff's in downtown Brooklyn. And one of the jukebox is all fucking deep metal. Like I went over to it and I was like, holy shit. Like I was a little bit out of my fucking skis, above my skis. But one of the shots they serve there is Coney Island whitefish. And they give you a shot of whiskey and a condom. And you drink it out of it. I don't. But people drink a fucking shot of whiskey out of a fucking condom.
That's insane.
That's insane. Yeah. So go to Duff's. And by the way, awesome bar. Awesome bar and awesome people. But anyway, so that's Coney Island whitefish. We're not talking about that. Alabama white sauce. A couple people had sent in to me. They were like, we love the fact that you like minor league baseball. And I do. If you don't go to a lot of baseball games, maybe the reason is because you live in New York and going to Yankee Stadium or Citi Field is a hassle and it's extremely expensive. Please find out where your local minor league baseball team is and take your kids there, particularly if you have small kids. Taking a small kid to a Yankee game is normally a dangerous waste of time. Taking a small kid to a minor league baseball game is usually lovely. We've done it. We've been to Rockland Boulders. My buddy Walter Lamberton and I had rented the cheapest limo we've ever seen in your life. We put our kids in it, went up to Rockland Boulders, and all told, tickets, limo, food, beers, the whole deal was the same price as one Yankee ticket. So, keep that in mind. So there is the Morehead City Marlins have unveiled their alternate identity. So these people do alternate identities, Alabama white sauce for whatever the hell that one was. I know some people do like sugar skulls and sort of Latin type themes for certain times a year. I really don't care. But Morehead City Marlins are now the Crystal Coast Booty Divers. And this thing it's all about eating ass. I mean, they try to make it into be something that's not overly, no, they don't even try. I mean, the slogan is like, I go down and it's somebody like diving between two baseballs like their ass cheeks. So yeah, so people they were like, you need to get one of these jerseys. I don't need one of those jerseys at all. Please don't send me them because I probably won't wear them. But I just wanted to hit some shine. I probably wear a hat. I just wanted to give some shine to Morehead for going full booty divers. Yes or no to that? Is that one of those things that you're doing?
Yes, please send the jerseys. I'll wear them.
Well, yeah. Oh, somebody had sent us some hot sauces. I should have done the unboxing. I'll bust them out next time. But somebody had sent us a bunch of hot sauces, which was nice of them.
Speaking of sports, though,
go.
Last week we were doing, I believe, pork tenderloin sandwiches versus chicken fried steak.
By the way, I hit that game. right?
Yeah, Indiana won game 1, which was the game right after we recorded that episode. And your prediction of pork tenderloins in 7 looks pretty good. Series tied 1-1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is that what I took for? Oh, okay. But either way, I'm just calling games. Listen, DraftKings is the only sports book that I use. DraftKings and I have a relationship because we do something called Picking the Tires every week on Rubbin' Is Racing. And so Spider and I and Quiggs and the whole boys, we make some picks and we do it through DraftKings. So I think it's the best sports book out there. So every now and again, well, every week, I'm going to have Ian pick out a line on DraftKings. That will happen after we record this. We're recording this on Wednesday. So give me something before the weekend. And I will try and make a bet, responsible bet, nothing big, nothing like Dave. I'm not going to put 250 on a triple double or anything like that. A responsible bet based on the food that is popular wherever these teams are. So perfect example was the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers for that game 1 where Indiana had stolen one in Oklahoma City. I had picked that upset, I guess, because I like the way I feel after eating a pork tenderloin more so than after I eat a chicken fried steak. Both elite dishes and both dishes that I order all the time. But chicken fried steak, I can tell you exactly where I go afterwards, and that's the fucking couch. At least after a pork tenderloin, I can function as an adult. So I took that, and I wound up hitting. So let's go 2 for 2, Ian. What's coming up? And again, this is Wednesday, June 11th. What do we got that you can pick out of DraftKings right now?
I think we got some college baseball games.
College baseball. Speaking of fucking Carl, he was a big college baseball guy. So is Mincy. Those are our guys.
I think maybe an interesting one would be LSU versus Arkansas.
LSU versus Arkansas. Okay. So LSU versus so this is leading up to the College World Series, right? It's a big process getting to the College World Series as far as these teams are, right? It's like a tournament that kind of gets into it. I don't mean to be too ignorant on it, but I just don't know enough about it. But all right, so if you want to do that, LSU is very easy for me. LSU's food, we'll go Louisiana food. So we'll go gumbo, jambalaya, and if we have to go something sweet, we'll go beignets. So one of those 3 is what we'll pick. But if we Google iconic Arkansas food.
I was going to say, nothing comes to mind.
Right. Arkansas iconic food. All right. Arkansas is known for its unique and comforting dishes. I've never been to Arkansas, so this is a tough one. Unique and comforting dishes. Fried pickles, possum pie, and chocolate gravy are the 3 that pop up. Google iconic Arkansas foods, and that's what you're going to get. Fried pickles, possum pie, and chocolate gravy. If you put up 3 versus 3 and you want to battle gumbo, jambalaya, and beignets with fried pickles, possum pie, and chocolate gravy, not even knowing what some of those are, you have to put both feet in and grab LSU. But let's break it down a little bit. I know fried pickles. I know what chocolate gravy is. Chocolate gravy, I think, is just a gravy they make with cocoa in it. It's sort of like an American mole, I'm guessing. I think that's what it is. Possum pie is a unique layered dessert that's deeply connected with Arkansas, and it's a popular choice for gatherings and special occasions. It's a no-bake pie, which I like, that traditionally includes a pecan shortbread crust. Ooh, nutty and buttery. I don't mind that. Cream cheese layer, a sweet and tangy layer, so cream cheese mixed with, some confectioner sugar, I'm sure. A chocolate pudding layer, and then a whipped cream topping. This is better than it sounds. Possum pie. So shortbread crust, cream cheese layer, so cheesecake layer, chocolate pudding layer, whipped topping. Why the name possum pie? The name comes from the playful idea that the pie plays possum or hides its delicious layers under the whipped cream topping, creating a surprising treat. Don't worry, there's no possum meat in this dessert. All right, I'm throwing out fried pickles. I'm throwing out chocolate gravy, and I'm using possum pie because I now love the fact that I know what possum pie is, and I'm going to have possum pie go up against its comp to LSU. So I'm throwing out gumbo and jambalaya, which are elite dishes. Oh, and po' boys. But I'm throwing them out. I'm going desserts. So I'm going beignets. I'm going Cafe du Monde beignets with enough powdered sugar that you choke if you breathe in as you eat. I want to look like like the end of Scarface after I eat a fucking beignet. I want to be covered in white. I do. Give me more. I want to lose a fucking foot every time I eat beignets. I love them. Hot beignets. I'm not a huge fan of chicory coffee. So beignets versus possum pie, Arkansas versus LSU. I don't even know who the favorite is. Hold on a second. I am thinking that I think I'm going to take this fucking possum pie. I've had so many beignets and I think they're very good. And when they're done right, they're also very good. I don't think I could not like a possum pie. Shortbread crust, chocolate pudding, cheesecake, and whipped cream. I will take Arkansas over LSU in college baseball because of the dessert possum pie. I'm in love with the name. I'm in love with the idea. That's it. Don't fucking come at me with the, suck that tiger dick or whatever the hell they say, right? That thing. LSU is fine and dandy by me, even though I hate Brian Kelly. It's got nothing to do with that. I'm going strict possum pie over beignets right now. Boom, put it in the book. So that's the one that we're betting on this week. I'll put in a responsible bet. What else do we want to talk about?
I think we could just get to Tucker.
Want to do Tucker? So in case he's not down to do a history one, should I do a history? I'll see if he wants to do one just to see if we can stretch it out. All right, that's cool. All right, so without further ado, let's bring in a guest. His name is Tucker Wetmore. If you don't know about him, you're about to, and here we go. Everybody, welcome on back. So as promised, I have Tucker Wetmore in the building with me. What we're trying to do here, as we're building out this food vertical, it seems like you can bring anybody in from any walk of life and try to talk to them. And there are certain topics that people have hills they want to die on. They have stuff that they don't want to talk about. They have stuff that they're not versed in that they can't talk about. I find that food is the exact opposite. People can feel very strongly about ketchup on a hot dog, but still want to chat about it. People can feel very strongly about whatever and talk about it forever. So I'm throwing out questions to people that they'd never heard before, having conversations with people that I've never met before about food, and it's been universally good, right? And so I'm hoping that good time continues with Tucker Wetmore. If you guys don't know, 25-year-old, he's the future of country music. By the way, when did country music stop being called country western? I called it country western about 6 months ago at a NASCAR race, and I got fucking laughed out of Nashville. When they dropped the western on that shit?
I don't think. I mean, so there's different kinds of country.
Go.
You got like West Coast country, which is like country western. Right. Then you got red dirt country, which is like Texas, Oklahoma, all
I don't
that.
know about red dirt country.
Dude, look into like red clay strays and like there's a bunch of
Yeah.
Then you got like just southern country. Then you got like country radio, which is a different, program.
Okay.
But it's all country.
Right. Where do you categorize yourself?
Oh gosh. Stupid most of the time.
So stupid country. Sort of like red dirt, but just not as intelligent. Yeah. Right. But you're fucking killing it.
Thanks, man.
Right? I mean, so that's the whole deal. Made history as What Not To is the biggest country debut from a new artist in 2025. You just cracked over 1 billion. 1 billion with a B. That's always fucking good, isn't it?
Nuts?
Million's kind of okay. Billion's kind of good, right? Total global streams across your whole catalog in a little over a year. Why have you been so successful? What is it? Who did you sleep with to kind of get to the top here at such a young age? And you're touring now,
ain't nobody,
right?
Man.
You're doing the whole thing, playing in front of big packed arenas and whatnot. It's happening pretty quickly, isn't it? And I know you've been working at it for a long time, but once it seems like I don't know, once it was lit, it seemed like the bomb went off pretty big for you. Yeah. And very quickly. What do you attribute that to?
Dude, it's been nuts. If you think about it, I dropped my first song last February.
Yeah.
And it's June of 2025 right now.
Yeah.
It started.
By the way, I nodded my head when you said 2026. That's how much I'm fucking paying attention. You say that you're the dumb one. I'm apparently a fucking idiot. Go ahead.
And then I started touring last April, and ever since then, I've toured all across the country.
Are you ever
All
intimidated?
across the world, really.
Are you intimidated by any of this shit? Or do you go in there and say, hey, listen, you do that thing that some people, they got to look in the mirror. Tuck, you good enough to do this? Get out there. You know, like mom spaghetti type shit.
Yeah.
Like, how is it when you kind of going out there and turning it on for tens of thousands of people at a shot?
Dude, it's, I mean, it depends on the show. I get more nervous, honestly, for the smaller, like intimate shows.
Okay.
But like a full packed out arena, I'm like, you know, I grew up playing sports and like college football and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I treat it like game day. You know, it's like, I got a job to do. Let's go out there.
Fucking cheat code. That's
Right.
the fucking cheat code, right? Montana Tech, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? So what position you play?
I was a receiver.
Okay, so receiver. So you had an injury. Otherwise, you thought that you were going to play football a little bit longer. You've always been a musician.
Yep.
So then you decided to move to Nashville and make that your life.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
I
So
guess.
far, right?
Hopefully it keeps doing
Just
it.
stay away from the fentanyl and we're going to be fine, right? Yeah.
None of that.
Let's back it up, though, and start with Washington. I've never been to the state of Washington. I think now that you're on the West Coast and talking to a lot of people around here, I think you'll find that. I think it's one of those things where if you have to do a checklist, if you haven't been to at least 13 states, then you aren't well traveled. Washington isn't necessarily the one that people check off here just because of its relation to the East Coast, right? It's too fucking far to get to. And a lot of times when we do, we get to California. I need to get to Washington.
I mean, I'm a little biased, obviously.
Of course.
But it's probably the most prettiest parts of the country, especially like my hometown and like the southwest, western part of Washington. Because you got the coast right there, and then like an hour in, you got the mountains, and then, dude, it's pretty.
How do you pronounce it? Kalama? Kalama, Washington. Yep. Kind of on the border of Oregon.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're like 45 minutes away from the border.
Okay. And so when I think of what's an iconic Washington food, I don't come up with much. Like, I know that you guys probably have the greatest fish ever. I think of salmon.
Yep.
I think of Dungeness crab.
Oh, yeah.
I think of apples, right? Rainier cherries, like kind of like real all-American type stuff. But I don't think of like a Juicy Lucy or a chopped cheese or a cheesesteak or a Cuban sandwich or an Italian beef or all these places. You could drop me in any fucking place and I'll be like, oh, LA, I got to get to Philippe's for a French dip. If I'm in Kalama. If I'm in Kalama, what the fuck do I eat that is seemingly exclusively Washington?
What's a Juicy Lucy?
Juicy Lucy is in Minnesota, and where they put the cheese inside the burger. So once they cook the burger and you got this molten cheese that does this tremendous cheese pull, but if you bite right into it, you just ruin the inside of your mouth. But that's a Juicy Lucy. Yeah, and you need one. It's in Minnesota right now, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, we do something every week where I pick a game just on the dish.
Okay.
So I just picked LSU, Arkansas, college baseball. I took Arkansas for the possum pie more so than the beignets in LSU. And that's going to cause people to hate me, but I don't give a shit. Possum pie just appeals to me. And I don't think you know what possum pie is because I didn't know either. Shortbread crust, fucking chocolate pudding, cheesecake, whipped cream. It seemed like it had everything. So
I thought you were talking about like actual possum.
I thought there was going to be possum in it. So I thought I was going to pass on it. And now I get blood flow because I don't get that at my age too often.
Yeah.
So I'm going Arkansas over LSU for that reason.
Okay.
Washington plays somebody in the Rose Bowl. What am I having from Washington? What am I thinking is the dish?
I honestly,
it's tough.
No, it's tough. It's tough. Okay, so if you're up near like Seattle, Tacoma, which I rarely ever went up there. Not really my speed, but they got a lot of like Pacific Islander culture up there.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah, and so like Pacific Islander dishes like Kahlua pork, chicken long rice, a bunch of stuff like that.
Right.
And that's what I grew up like. A bunch of my family's Samoan on my dad's side.
Yeah, that's your upbringing is on your dad's side. What is your mom?
Italian.
Italian and Samoan.
Yeah.
That's a cool fucking mix right there. Yeah, no, an Italian Samoan who is from Washington, who's now in Nashville, killing it. You're the only one. You're the only you don't come from a long list of Italian Samoans who go on to become country stars out of Kalama, Washington. You're one of one. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right? So Kahlua pork, I'm very familiar with. What the fuck is that shit that I eat from whenever I go anywhere near Hawaiian? Loco Moco. You ever have that shit where it's just 2 scoops of rice with 2 cheeseburgers on top of it, brown onion gravy, and then a little bit of potato salad on the side?
Like
I'm a lot fatter than you. Yeah. I think I'm a lot fatter than you.
A clogged artery.
But as much as I complain, or not complain, but as much as shit as I'm giving Washington, it's also a place where like Cinnabon started. Starbucks started, right? Like some real iconic type places, because I've spilt more Cinnabons than you've probably had in your life. So it's a good food scene. I would assume it's a good food scene,
it is,
but a wonderful state.
Yeah, especially if you're like feeding yourself off the land. You know, you got salmon, you got steelhead that run twice a year. You got elk up there, you got, you know, whitetail, you got you know, all of these different,
right?
You know, like,
are you a
wild
hunter?
Game. I try.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, especially like the fish up there, you can't beat it, dude.
Right.
It is so fresh, so clean. Especially my hometown, we got the Klamath River going into the Columbia, and we got 2 runs a year, winter and summer.
Really?
Steelhead and salmon. And so, dude, it's good eating, man.
And it's crazy that you said it's so fresh, it's so clean. I had fish in Ireland, and I was in like Kinsale or something, and I was like, I don't know what it is about this, but it's got this firmness and this absolute, almost like ice water way about it, because it was so fresh and fucking firm and clean. And I think people who live, you know, particularly in the Midwest, who get all their stuff out of a frozen section, they're never going to experience that.
No.
And it's a total different thing.
Like if I go to a restaurant and they got salmon, I'll ask them, has this been frozen?
Right.
Or is it coming fresh?
Right.
Where did it come from? You know,
and so
I'm like super particular with my fish.
Would you say that that's the biggest snob that you are as far as food goes?
Probably.
Okay. Because I am just about with everything else.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So I can see that, you being a little bit of a, I don't know, a specialist on a salmon specialist.
Not a salmon specialist,
but
I just like it a certain way, you know?
Candied salmon, you ever have that? Like that's
candied salmon?
When I looked up Washington, one of the things they said was candied salmon. I don't fuck
like
with
brown
it.
Sugar?
Yeah, brown sugar and maple syrup and stuff like that.
It's
so
good.
Is it very good?
You gotta cook it on a super low heat because it burns.
Okay, yeah.
So you'll get like a burnt crust if you don't do it right, but just because of the brown sugar, but it's good.
Growing up and having a Samoan dad or a dad of Samoan ancestry and a mom who is of Italian ancestry, who did all the cooking in the house?
My mom.
Your mom.
Yeah.
So you grew up a lot more on pasta than you did on island dishes.
Yeah.
Is your dad good at anything as far as in the kitchen?
Well, my mom like
how old's your mom and dad? Do you know?
My mom is 40. Oh gosh,
I'm
gonna be safe. My mom's 35.
I hate this fucking conversation.
She's
His mom is somewhere.
She's in her 40s, but I'm gonna be safe.
No, absolutely, yeah. I'm 52. I hate fucking interviewing people who I'm twice the age of. I'm older than your dad, and for some reason it just hurts my feelings, Ian. I don't know what the hell it is. Man. No, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're a good man. And what is your dad? But was your dad one of those guys who like, I don't know, wanted her to do stuff that was outside of her comfort zone and cook something that was closer to his heritage?
I mean, I didn't really like grow up with my father.
Oh, okay.
But like I grew up around like the family, and you know,
that's not on the bio.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. But yeah, I mean, and my mom was always working, so most of the time it was like me and my sisters making dinner.
Oh, really?
If my mom was working night shift or whatever it was, you know, sometimes even working three jobs at a time just to, you know, take care of his kids. And
God bless mom.
That's right.
35-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Right? Kind of going
29.
on doing 29, something like that. So then when you moved to Nashville, how old were you?
I was 20.
Okay, so you go to Nashville. Did you take your whole family or was it just you?
It was just me.
What did you think of Nashville? A guy coming from Washington and coming to Nashville for the first time to live, not to visit.
It was weird. Okay. Especially it was in 2020. Mm-hmm. So it was in the middle of COVID.
Right.
And I didn't know anybody, anything. And I get there from a town of 2,500 people, if everybody's home, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and I didn't know they made buildings that big.
Yeah.
It was wild. And it was kind of nice and easy because it was the middle of COVID, so there wasn't a bunch of people. But it started opening up, so I kind of eased into it a little bit as COVID was kind of getting over. And yeah, I mean, it was different, but I got my feet under me.
It had to be the worst time in the world to move to fucking one of the most fun places in the universe, right? I mean, Nashville, and you go in there during a global fucking pandemic.
Yeah.
That had to be miserable to a certain degree.
I was 20 too, so it's like...
Yeah.
I couldn't go to the bars anyways.
That's right. Yeah, we wouldn't let you into the Barstool bar at all. Yep. How do you feel about it now? How do you feel about Nashville as a town?
It's growing.
Is it?
You know, I'm always on the road.
Right.
You know, I'm on the road probably like 7 months out of the year. And every time I go back, it's just, there's a new building there, or this is a new area, or like new hot spot for people to hang out. And it's growing fast, dude.
I tell you, every time we go down there, and again, I'm down there quite a bit, and Barstool has a bar down there, Barstool Nashville, which does pretty well.
I've been.
Have you?
I'm very familiar.
It's kind of in a great spot.
Yeah.
Like we're right by the footbridge that goes over towards Nissan Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems to have that it walks that line where they can play club, at night, but they can play sports bar in the afternoon because of the Barstool moniker.
Yeah.
And the cheat code for us there is every now and again, they put up like a merch tent inside the place because Nashville is filled with these bachelorette parties. You see these girls going around on the tractors. I have a theory about that, by the way, too.
I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, the heavier the girls, they get earlier in the day, and then as the night goes on, they get hotter and hotter on the tractors.
You just get more
maybe
drunk.
because I'm drinking. Yeah. But the thing is, a lot of these girls are down there for bachelorette parties. Bachelorette parties are huge down there.
Oh, yeah.
And so if they go into the Barstool bar, they pick up a golf shirt for their husbands or whatever. And then it's okay that they were somewhere on a tractor, maybe grab another guy's dick. That goes without saying. So
Damn tractors, man.
Will you stay in Nashville forever? Like, do you think that it's one of those places where you can set down some roots and maybe become a real Nashville, Tennessee guy?
I mean, I'm going to have to for a long time, just because it works there, and like if I'm recording, I got to be in Nashville or, bus calls in Nashville. I can't really fly around to all these places. And I actually just, I'm in the process of buying my first house in Nashville.
How big?
Decent.
Excellent. But 25-year-old kid with the world at your fucking feet, this is a big time for you then to try and do something where you strike while the iron's hot, get as much out of this as you can, then kind of become a legend and then become just a fixture in the Nashville scene. But you have to be there because that's some of the best session musicians in the world, right? You can just go into, I find that when I walk down Broadway and there's music coming out of a random bar, I'll never know who the musician is. All I'll know is that it's one of the best guitar players I've ever heard. Yeah. It's just
the talent in that, dude. It's just seeping with talent.
Right.
And, playing on Broadway, it's kind of like a circle that's tough to get out of once you're in it.
Oh, okay.
Because you make good money. And it's hard to, land a touring spot or a session spot because there's so many musicians. So people just great musicians get stuck in the circuit of playing these Nashville Broadway bars, and they're making good money. So why would they leave?
I guess, yeah, but they'll never make that leap. Were you tempted to try and do that too? Take some of those gigs at, wherever?
At first, no, honestly, because I knew that, and I knew I wanted bigger than playing Broadway bars.
Right?
Broadway bars are fun to go to,
100%.
But I didn't want that to be my place of work.
Okay.
I wanted bigger. I wanted arenas. I want stadiums. I want big shows.
No big deal. So do I. Were you about to say something?
I was going to say, when you're doing these big tours, these big concerts, and you walk in the green room, what kind of snacks or food are we looking at?
That's good.
Okay. Yeah.
What's on the rider for you? Do you get the green M&Ms taken out? I mean, do they have to have a certain bottle of tequila or something like that?
I've heard stories about people doing only yellow M&Ms or whatever it is, like yellow Skittles. No, that's not me. I do beef jerky, trail mix, a thing of Tums because I get heartburn like a mother.
There it is. Yeah.
Neutrals and Jack Daniel.
Really? What the hell's Neutrals?
It's like a seltzer.
Oh, okay. I got you. One of those. And a little bit of JD.
Yeah.
That is a fucking country thing.
That's it.
That's country.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what my rider would. Oh, you're a Zin guy. Yeah. Always have one of guys. How many milligrams?
6.
Okay, 6. So you're right there.
Sometimes 12.
I would tell you, covering NASCAR, I'm amazed with these guys put on their Hans device, a head and neck device. They put on their helmets, and almost as important is they got to pop a couple of Zins before they get into the car. It's a whole deal. Do you have any kind of ties with NASCAR?
I do not.
Okay.
I mean, my grandpa watched it.
Okay.
Back when I was
You think you're going to need to now that you're down in the South and whatnot? It's almost like a rite of passage, isn't it?
Maybe.
I got to get you to a race.
I've been getting more intrigued.
Right.
For sure.
I will tell people that they'll never get into NASCAR unless they see a couple of races live. And you have NASCAR, you have Nashville Super Speedway, which isn't actually in Nashville. It's like 35 minutes outside of it, but it's a really good place to see a race. So I think if they get you there a couple of times, we're going to have another fan, I think, involved with this.
I think so.
Yeah.
When I was young, like as a kid, they had like a dirt track, and they had
it's
like
good racing though, right?
Great racing.
Yeah.
So I kind of went to some of those as a kid, but
yeah, I started to watch it, and I've never been able to drive a stick because I'm kind of opposite of you. I grew up in Brooklyn, never drove the whole deal, and
I'll teach you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I get out of car still and let my wife parallel park. I'm not much of a man, I don't think, but it is what it is. But I watch NASCAR 3 races a week, Yeah. So it's just something that you kind of get hooked on.
Everyone's got their things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So when you become even bigger than you are now, what do you see for yourself, like for the rest of your career? Is it one of those things where, as a 25-year-old kid who is crushing it in the country music scene, is it one of those things where you want to kind of branch out and do just about anything? Or do we see Tucker Wetmore become the next fucking, I don't know, Kenny Rogers, a guy who just kind of owns it and becomes synonymous with a certain amount of time in that music genre? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. There was a time where I didn't know anybody but Dolly Parton and fucking Kenny Rogers, right? Like, everybody who didn't listen to country music knew about those dudes. I can't tell you who that person is right now in country. Like, who is the top of the food chain right now in your genre?
Dude, it's gotta be Morgan. Honestly. Okay. Him or Luke.
Right.
Jones.
And is that the Rosetta Stone for you, to kind of just follow that career path alongside them?
I mean, obviously, I'm doing my own thing. You know, then that's what I'm focusing on, is just, you know, making my own sound and writing the songs that I relate to, but like also my fan base relates to as well.
Okay.
Because country music's got its own fan base, but there's openings for a ton of people following country music and buying into country music right now. It's the biggest it's probably ever been, and it's just cool to see. But you know, obviously, I want to just pave my own path and kind of just. Obviously, I wouldn't mind venturing out.
It's the biggest it's ever been, but is it becoming saturated? Is it one of those things where you're seeing people and you're like, you know what? I don't even consider that country. Really? Because you gave me the breakdown of some of the stuff that you said, and a couple of them might be categories that you don't want to even be put into. Is it one of those things where country is now a much broader thing than it once was? So sometimes people who are purists are saying, shit, I don't get into that. I don't fuck with that.
And just because it's not country doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. You know, I look at music as, I think back of why I started playing music at 11 years old when I sat down on a piano. Mm-hmm. I did it because it's my therapy. It's what helps me get through my everyday life, you know? And that's the way I look at music. So if it's making you feel something, it's not wrong. Right. You know, if it's making you think about something or make you want to party or whatever it is, it's not wrong. It's just sometimes that's more country than this, or this is more pop than that, or this is hip hop and that's reggae or whatever it is. That's heavy metal. That's rock. Whatever it is, it's all music. I look at music as a whole. And
so you're not in the fuck Beyonce crowd? Bring them all in. As long as there's eyes on the genre, I think it's better for everybody, right?
I don't care about that,
it just doesn't matter, right? I might be in the fuck Beyonce crowd. I'm not sure yet. I haven't made up my mind.
I don't know what I mean? I don't pay attention to all that stuff.
When you were playing football, how big were you?
What do you mean?
Like, how much bigger than you are now? As a receiver, I know you don't have to be very big. Is it one of those things now where you go through? Were you?
Well, I was like, you know, I'm 6'1", mm-hmm. and I was 6'1", you know, all throughout high school and college, and but I was a little skinnier. I guess I've thickened out.
So you got a little bit jacked.
I guess.
Just for the ladies, kind of, right? Open up the buttons a couple of it. Because you're on social media like crazy. 1.2 million followers in TikTok. Is that now just as important as just about any other promotion that you do to make sure that you have a foothold in social media in this kind of climate? Because that's how my son came across you. That's how my son had got you.
Dude, okay, so I look at social media as a tool, you know, and that's the way a lot of artists look at it. And, you know, it's just such an easy way for millions of people to hear one of your songs overnight.
Right.
You know, which is what happened with me and, you know, happens with me, you know, with a couple other songs too. And it's just, it's a tool, and I don't like idolize it. I try not to sit there and scroll. Obviously, I get down a rabbit hole scrolling through things, and but I just use it as a tool, and it's a great way for me to connect to my fans or make new fans, and like tell my fans, hey, this is where I'm going to be playing shows, or this is a new idea that I'm working on. What do you guys think? And then kind of test it out, test the waters, and you know, it's very helpful.
Team of people helping you with that, because you're very good at it. Like your page is one of those ones that I think is extremely approachable, and just by spending a little time on it, it makes you out to be both talented and likable, which is exactly what you want. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
I'm just me, man. I kind of just put up the camera and just,
that's what I mean.
Do whatever I want.
But I find that to be fucking endearing. You know what I mean? But you know, you can make the best shit in the world, but it looks like it's shot on a potato if Ian is not editing stuff for me. So you do find that you have a team of people. And do they say, hey, no, I want you to do the dance of the month? And you're like, fuck this. I'm just going to kind of hang out and do my thing. Because you got to do some silly shit.
He helps me out a lot.
Right. And then all of a sudden you have him doing silly shit that's probably outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, my team will, every once in a while, they'll be like, hey, there's this trend going on. They know I won't dance in front of the camera.
Right.
Just because not my style. You know? But every once in a while I'll buy in, like the hoser yell was one of those things that I did. I was like, oh, this is kind of funny. So I just
tough yell.
I totally botched it.
I listened to it. It was tough.
But I just thought it was funny, so I posted it.
Yeah.
You know, every once in a while I'll just be a goofball on there.
Yeah, I think the self-deprecating thing works out a lot, you know, particularly with the fans. And then I think as bigger artists kind of get you on board to do these tours like the one you're currently on, right? Because you're touring right now, correct?
Yep, with Thomas Rhett.
Yeah, and you're going to be in Jones Beach, I think, pretty soon.
Yeah, next month.
Stop Jones Beach on July 12th.
Yep.
So it kind of is easy for a guy like Thomas Rhett to say, hey, I got to get this guy in because I like his music. And also, he has a built-in fucking following.
Yeah.
A built-in global following.
Yeah.
Right? Because
he's been doing it he's been touring since 2011, you know?
Really?
He's a veteran, man. He's one of the best to, you know, in my opinion, ever to do it. And he's just such a good dude. And it's cool to be out on the road with him and learn.
How do you stay on the road? Like you say him on tour since 2011. How do you stay on the road and not become a fat bastard? Like if I have to go to 2 fucking races in a weekend, like 2 race weekends in a row, I come back and I don't look that good. Ankle swollen, the whole deal. What do you do? Like, how do you eat healthy? I mean, you know, your metabolism and mine, thank God, are different, right? Or else you'd be in a grave,
a little
right?
bit, I guess.
So how do you kind of keep it kind of tight?
You know, obviously diet is a huge thing, and we work out pretty much every morning on the road. We'll do like an outside workout. We're set up. I got a gym set up, and so does TR. He's got a whole gym set up. So we'll work out every morning, and I like to meal prep.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like, there's this company that I use out of Nashville that gives me meal preps. So I'll just have those on the bus, and then Thomas Rhett's got catering, which is really nice, and it's all clean food. And it's all great food, and so I'm honestly more in shape on the road than I am at home.
Oh, you're more of a sack of shit when you're at home by yourself and all, like fending for yourself.
Order some DoorDash. You don't cook teriyaki chicken. I do, but I never have time to. You know,
right?
And even if I'm home, I'm working. You know, doing interviews or like photo shoots or whatever it is. But I try to cook. I love cooking. I try to cook as much as possible.
But are you good at it?
I'm decent. I make a mean steak.
Okay, so if I was to come over, and there's no reason for me to come over, but if I was to come over, what would you do for me? And you know that I'm a snob on just about everything. You think your steak would pass metal with me?
I think so.
Okay.
Steak and rice. That's my huge thing. And
steak and rice.
Throw some asparagus in there. That's all I need.
Really?
I'll keep you skinny.
I had Jeff Gordon in here yesterday, a NASCAR guy, and the same thing. I said, if you won the Master, he won 4 championships in the Cup Series. I said, if it was like the Masters where you had to pick the banquet, what would you serve in the banquet? He's like, I would just do some steak and mashed potatoes. That's right. And I'm like, yeah, right down the middle.
That's all you need.
What about Nashville hot chicken? Now that you're in Nashville, I'm a northern guy, right? I spend time in Nashville, as we said. I've said on this show a couple of times, I'm not a fan. I'm a Buffalo guy. I think Nashville hot chicken it's a lot.
Okay, what don't you like about it?
I don't like the fact that they take something that is inherently delicious and put hot dust on it, basically. Like, you know what I mean? I like more of the sauce than I do the oil and dust.
I can see that.
Of hot chicken. And that's the whole deal. And I've been to all of them, right? Yeah. So I've done all of them down there. Kentucky Fried, no, I'm just kidding. So I've done all the big places down there, and I don't dislike it. I just don't think that it's even in the same universe as like a buffalo chicken, to be quite honest with you.
I do like some buffalo chicken.
Okay.
Nashville hot chicken is different, and it depends on where you get it. I'm not the biggest fan of it, in my opinion, but every once in a while I'll get it. I'm like, damn, this is really good.
Okay.
You know?
Gun to your head, you have to wipe one off the earth for the rest of time. Buffalo chicken and Nashville chicken. That's the easiest decision you ever made. We're killing Nashville chicken. Or are you now a traitor to your new home in Nashville?
I like chicken.
Okay, so I got you. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
For my answer.
Right. So with the whole tour thing, is it someplace you're in New York for how long?
I got a show up here tomorrow, and then I go to Pennsylvania the next day.
Okay, so it's kind of
the next 24 hours.
Do you, when you go to stops on the tour that perhaps you haven't been to, or that you have been to but haven't spent enough time in it, is it kind of important for you to kind of get out tonight and have a good meal in New York City, try whatever it is in Hershey, Pennsylvania, where you're going next, or whatever the fuck it is? Is it one of those things where you will try every one of the cuisines of the places that you go to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like every time I'm up in New York, because my label's up here as well.
Okay.
Part of my label is, and I'm up here quite a bit, and I'm always trying to find like new food places. I never know what they're called or remember what they're called.
Right.
Like Chicago is one of those places that I went to, and I was actually really surprised by the food.
Great food town.
Great food.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you're going. They're all pretty good.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time there because we have our other HQ in Chicago, and I find that I can just walk down the street and probably find 3 or 4 places. You can't throw a baseball without hitting a place that's absolutely fantastic. New York is the same way, but there are only a couple of towns, I think, in the United States that fit that bill. Some towns are great.
And Washington, apparently.
Well, yeah, exactly. But is there a place in Washington that I'm missing? Is Spokane just like a food center of the West Coast? Or do you guys...
That's your problem. You're going to Spokane.
I haven't been. No, I haven't been to Seattle.
Gotcha.
I haven't been anywhere. I haven't been to the state of Washington.
Don't go to Spokane.
Okay, I will not.
Go to
Kalama.
Go to Kalama. I'm serious. I'll give you a whole list of things to do.
2,500 people.
Yep.
Unless there's a sale somewhere and then there's 500 people
unless there's
aren't
a
home.
concert down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're saying you'd send me to a 2,500 person town and I'd still be okay just doing the local stuff.
Actually, fun fact, the Chinese restaurant in my hometown.
Okay.
I think it's called like Lucky Dragon or something. I can't remember. Yeah. That was ranked like top 100 within the top 100 best Chinese restaurants in the nation.
Oh, really?
I think a couple years ago. Yeah.
I wouldn't have pinned that.
Me neither.
Now, when you go in there, are the people behind the counter Chinese or are they people from Kalama, Washington? Okay.
Yeah.
Sort of something that we look for. Yeah. You know? Okay, good. As long as you have it. And I'm being so fucking myopic thinking that New York is closer to China than Washington because I just haven't looked at a fucking map in a while. So I apologize for that. So if you had, we'll pump the tour right now. Pump the tour. What are we doing next? Where do people find you and why? What do everyone have to know about you right off the jump?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we're on Better in Boots tour with Thomas Rhett. And so all of the dates are on my website or on Instagram or whatever.
When are you going to be done with this tour?
September, I think, is our last day.
Okay, so you pump right through the summer and then you're done in September. When you're done with this tour, do you take a couple of months off or is it too valuable time?
Oh, I think I got some like one-off shows in October, November, but I think December's pretty open.
Talk to me about the Brunettes song.
What about it?
It's absolutely catchy, but it seems like it's one of those things where you're gravitating away from blondes going into brunettes. Yeah. Do you get a lot of?
I know it's good for me.
Do you get a lot of kickback from the redheads?
Yeah, dude. Surprisingly,
that's what I'm saying.
I get more pissed off redheads than I do blondes, if I'm being honest.
What do you have against fucking redheads?
Nothing, man. Okay. I love redheads.
I will tell you right now, I've been married to a redhead for 26 years.
Okay.
If there's rust on the roof, there's usually water in the basement. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, heard.
Okay, there it goes. So you're okay with redheads alongside me,
that's right.
But brunettes are number one with the bullet. Is that okay to say? Probably clip that out so Andy doesn't see it. Brunettes number one with the bullet for you? Brunettes.
I mean, I like women, man. Honestly,
it's good to hear.
Yeah, I've had a history of liking some blondes, and those didn't really work out too much. But maybe I'll switch it up a little bit.
And is that just one of those things with country music that you never run out of stuff to write songs and talk about it, as long as you live a life that you're having fun? Because the heartache part of it sometimes sells more, but sometimes the stuff when you're just throwing it against the wall fucking rips too, right?
Yeah,
and that's another cheat code for being a country star. As long as you're living something that's interesting and you're talented enough musically to sing about it.
And you're open enough to talk about it. Write about it. Yeah. It's just, there's always something else to write about.
Yeah. You know? Could you see yourself doing some sort of, I don't know. I always find myself gravitating back towards like classic duets and shit. Mm-hmm. I don't see enough female country artists. I know there are couple, like we've been out there with a few of them, particularly down in Nashville when we're there. Is that one of those things that you would need somewhere down the line to start doing some duets and shit? I'm going back to Dolly and fucking Kenny Rogers' Islands in the Stream way too much. But is that something that you need to do? Yeah. That's or is it something that you're just your guy?
No, I definitely, I want to do some duets. Yeah. And, you know, even outside of country too, I'd love to collaborate with other artists and, you know, do all that jazz. But man, there's plenty of women artists, especially now, like coming up, you know, like Ella Langley, Megan, you know, then they got Kelsey Ballerini, you know, Maren Morris. There's a bunch.
Beyonce.
Yeah,
exactly. That's right. You want me to make a call? Yeah. Get you in on that next album?
It's okay.
I hear you. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to collab, especially outside of country. As much as inside.
And do you feel that if you get too successful in your endeavors here, do you find that some of these guys, once they start to make that rock star money, right? Does it sort of pull you away from your roots? Like you're saying that you're buying a house, you're 25 years old, buying your house in Nashville, huge place, you said, right? With the statues pissing into the pool and the whole deal. Like if you look back on where you started, like you said, your mom working 3 jobs at a time, right? You and the sisters maybe fending for yourselves every now and again as your mom is putting food on the table, which I think is extraordinary. And then you see where you are now. I mean, you're extremely blessed. Right?
Blessed
with your road has been now, but your road has been to here. How do you see that continuing, and how much do you see that changing from the kid who wanted to be a wide receiver in the NFL 10 years ago?
It's a huge change, honestly. But like you said, dude, the only word I have for it is just blessed. Like I'm so blessed beyond measure, and not just me, but like my family as well. Like it's put me in a position to be able to help my family, like my sisters, my mom.
It's huge, right?
Huge, dude. My friends, it's the coolest thing in the world, because that brings me so much. That brings me more joy than almost, besides music, anything does. Just helping my family, helping the people that I love, and supporting them, and it's cool.
It's a great feeling.
It's cool.
We talk about food a little bit. Let's talk about drinks. You say that you're helping out the family, helping out the friends. I imagine a guy like you, when you hit the bar with a bunch of the buddies, is it now automatically that Tucker picks up the bill?
Not automatically, because my friends aren't like that. They're not going to expect that from me. But most of the time, I'm like, yeah, this is on me. Let's just have a good time. Whatever we're doing. But it's.
What's the drink of choice on tour outside of the Jack? So you go to the Barstool Bar in Nashville, and you're ordering up a round for the fucking bar. What's your order for that?
Depends on the night we're having.
Okay.
So if like we're fixing a party our faces off for the next 4 or 5 hours, until like 4 o'clock in the morning,
right?
Tequila.
Okay.
But if we got like 2 solid, strong hours, 2.5 solid, Jack Daniels, chill them, throw them in a glass, shoot it.
That's a very good answer for a country star. Is there something that's almost, I don't know, something you're embarrassed about? Like we have a guy here, his name is Ryan Whitney, NHL guy. His drink of choice was always vodka and pink lemonade. That was it. He liked a pink lemonade.
Probably tasted great.
And so now we have Pink Whitney, which is pink lemonade flavored vodka, and it flies off the shelves. Do you like something with an umbrella in it every now and again, but you don't want to drink it in front of your country friends because it's going to make you seem a little bit? You don't give a shit? Yeah, an Alabama Slammer or something like that? Maybe something with the pinkies.
Give me a margarita.
Yeah.
Throw my pinky up in the air.
A little frozen margarita.
Absolutely, dude.
Sure, absolutely.
Especially sipping out on the beach.
Yeah, sipping out of a straw. You don't think that hurts your street cred? If all of a sudden
street cred, man.
People see,
I care about getting drunk with a margarita in my hand.
I hear you. I guess so, right? Single guy, right?
That's right.
And so when you're out there with the ladies, is it impossible to do because you're always on tour, or is that a good thing because you don't have to stay with any one of them too long? It's a tough question to answer.
I'm focused on music. Man.
Okay.
That's my answer.
See that answer right there, Ian?
Yeah.
Ian's around a 25-year-old too. He's focusing on production.
That's right.
Nobody wants to talk about how they're focusing on trying to destroy as many women, not destroy, consensually please as many women as they can, right? And making it like one of those things that goes back and forth. So I like that you're taking the high road. If I was you, right, I would fucking be, and I had that hair, I'd be fucking unstoppable.
I ain't got no time, man. Honestly.
You don't, right? It seems like you're in and out of here. Right off to the next thing. I mean, but this is the time to do it. Yeah. Anyway, right? You don't want to slow down at this point.
Yeah, I'd rather work my ass off for the next 5 years.
Okay.
Set my family up, my future family up. Obviously, I want like kids someday. I want a wife, a loving family.
You got plenty of time. Man.
I got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, God willing.
Right now, you should be consensually.
Right now, I'm going to set up their life.
Okay.
By doing the hard work right now, and then all the rest will fall into place.
Well, I'm going to close in a couple of seconds here, but since you're in New York and since you're in like, a mecca for food, is there anything that you've never tried in your life that you'd like to try? Because you can get anything that you want here, and I probably know a place to send you to. Is there something that I often ask this question, what's the best dish you've never had? And people are like, I don't get it. And I'm like, well, what's the best movie you'd never seen? And they're like, oh shit, yeah, I never saw Citizen Kane, but I heard it was good. I've never seen Fight Club, but I heard it was very good. Like the whole deal. So what's that best food that you've never tried that now that you're traveling all over the world for all intents and purposes, and certainly all over the country, and you come into great cities like this, what's that one food that Tucker Wetmore has never had that you might as well bust your cherry on somewhere along the line?
I don't know.
That's
man.
a tough one.
That is so tough. I love food, dude. I'm
Caviar guy?
Foodie. Yeah. Love
Oyster
caviar.
guy?
Yeah.
Shit.
I like
thought
them
was gonna
grilled.
get you. Oh, you like grilled oysters.
Yeah, I like
hear
grilled
you.
oysters.
I don't mind smaller raw oysters.
Rattlesnake.
That's the one you
would be
want?
sick. Yeah.
I got a fucking place.
And I don't know how true this is. This might be offensive to Australians.
No.
Do they eat kangaroo down there?
I don't have the answer to that. Ian, get on that.
I have no idea.
I would eat the shit out of kangaroos.
Because if they do, if it's like socially acceptable, I think it would be sick to. Yeah, I've had kangaroo.
Yes,
it would.
they do.
It would be wonderful if I ruined your career because the Australians came at you for calling them kangaroo
Yeah, they just
eaters. That would be
idolize kangaroos. Dude, I would feel terrible.
Yeah. Like I'm going to start a rumor that Panda Express sells real panda.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like one of those things. Fuck it. So you would do. So I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And that's an excellent answer. Rattlesnake and kangaroo.
Yeah.
I used to go to a place called the New Deal, which used to specialize in all these different type of meats that you normally wouldn't have. I believe I've had kangaroo there. I've definitely had rattlesnake, and I've had a couple of things that are now deemed illegal to eat. But it's one of those things where that's where I would take you.
Yeah.
I think that a young guy like you, I would take you to one of those places where we'd get just about everything on the table. Is there anything that you wouldn't try, or are you ultra, I don't know, are you risky? Would you put anything in your mouth that comes out from a good restaurant?
I mean, I like trying everything once.
Okay.
You know, my mom always told me, this is what you're getting for dinner, so you better eat it. You know,
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
That's just how I grew up. So I'll try everything once. There's two things: sour cream, and I don't like bagels.
Oof. I got to. All right. So that's it for Tucker Wetmore. We'll see you guys next weekend.
I knew it.
So what is it again? Now, is it because you don't like bagels because you've been having disgraceful bagels in fucking Washington State and Nashville?
Maybe. It's too much bread, man.
Is it?
Too much bread.
And those are the sour cream, which is an elite topping.
I can't stand sour cream, dude.
Really?
You don't like sour cream either.
What about so anything that's close to it? Like, I don't know. Greek yogurt is what they use to replace sour cream. You a yogurt guy?
I like yogurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mayonnaise, it's not like the texture that throws you off.
Yeah,
it's
not
just
the texture,
sour
it's just
cream.
the taste and cream cheese. I can't stand cream cheese.
I can tell you what, if you keep talking, then me and you are going to fucking fight because I'd put cream cheese on my wife, that saucy redhead we were talking about before, and absolutely destroy her with some degree of consent. All right, let's wrap this up. This is Tucker Wetmore. This is a guy that you're going to see a lot of if you haven't already. So go follow him. He's very easy to find on social media because he's got a much bigger following than you, and he's currently touring with Thomas Rhett. And he's going to be doing that until the end of September. So you can catch him just about anywhere in this country. But he will never be eating a fucking bagel and cream cheese. And I hate him for it. Tucker, I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
All right. So that was Tucker Wetmore. Pleasantly surprised. Not pleasantly surprised because he seems like a nice guy by all accounts before he came in here. But you just never know how you're going to jive with someone when you sit down and you talk. Two strangers kind of trying to gel together, particularly with the age gap. I don't know. I thought that went well. So I don't know what we're going to do. Like, I'm going to keep bringing on all different types of guests. We're going to keep bringing on all different types of guests and just see how this thing pans out because I'm having a fucking time of my life. One of the things I didn't get to is the history thing with them. So I'll pop that in real quick. People love the history part of it too. We still do Twisted History. It's a once a month type thing. I think the last thing we did was posthumous recognition just because Pete Rose being allowed to be Hall of Fame eligible. I went through all other people in history that never got their flowers until after laying in a box. So that's this episode of Twisted History, but I'm doing food history every week on You Gotta Try This as well. And one of the ones which is recent history, but I think it's absolutely diabolical. It's 2009. Ian, tell me what you think about this. Burger King launched in 2009 a campaign where if you unfriended 10 friends, 10 on Facebook, again, we're 2009, you're entitled to a free Whopper. But those ex-friends would receive a notification explaining that their friendship was less valuable than a Whopper. Oh, that's fucking diabolical. I mean, I think about, take me out of the equation because we'll use Twitter instead of Facebook. I don't know if anyone follows me on Facebook. I kind of forgot what my login is. For some reason, my stuff automatically goes to Facebook. So I have a page somewhere, but it only gets stuff that goes from Instagram. So let's say I have 140,000 followers on Twitter. I can give up 10 of them in a fucking heartbeat and send them, DMs saying, hey, listen, you meant less to me than a fucking Whopper, 1/10 of a Whopper. But for people who don't have that many followers, the average person who has 600, what the average person on Facebook have?
Well, it's not followers, it's people you follow.
Yes. So, the people you follow, which is even more intimate. Oh shit. It's the people that you fucking.
So you gotta cut some people out of your life and say, I'd rather you have this Whopper.
Right. And I guess you can follow them again. If you devise something, you and your buddies want to just go and get, couple of free Whoppers, you get 10 guys together and you all unfollow each other at the same time, then you get the email nobody. But I don't think people would go through jump over those hurdles for maybe a Whopper, or maybe they would. And this is 2009. I wonder if they did this today, if they would be dragged for it, because we're in a different world than we were in 2009.
I was just going to say, I don't think this works today. I think 2009, you get a Facebook notification that someone values a Whopper more than you. That might fuck you up a little bit, but that happens today. You just look at that and be like, what? I guess they're getting a free Whopper, and then you close it. You don't think too much about it.
Or it might even be deemed as something inappropriate. I don't know. I don't know if it's good press for them now. In 2009, I could see this being really. Listen, I appreciate the hustle, just getting eyes on it. I wish I would have saw it when it was happening. I don't remember this because it's free advertising for Burger King back then, and I would have talked about it back then also. I just think that it's a cool little chunk of history. And in 2009, Burger King's like, you know what? Give up 10 of these bullshit friends you have on Facebook, and we'll throw you a Whopper. But we want to make sure we tell them that they fucked up. No, that they're fucking worthless.
I feel like this is in the same vein as the Chick-fil-A thing with the grades last week.
Oh yeah, where it's like, that's a follow through for us.
You only unfollow 10 people and you get a free Whopper. Like, I'm not understanding that conversion rate.
Yeah, it's cheapening it a little bit. By the way, I went around. I spoke to a lot of people about that. Chick-fil-A giving out free food to people with A's and B's on their report card, and it's a split field. Some people are like, stop being such a fucking hardo. And other people are like, yeah, what happened to excellence in this country? So it's like that. And I don't think it's along party lines that had happened with either, but either way, it's caused a couple of disruptions in my personal life. All right. So that's it for this week on You Got to Try This. As always, I appreciate everybody who tunes in to this. Leave us a review and a question, 5-star review and a question, and we'll try to get back to you. We had done St. Louis last week. We did Joya's hot salami last week. Coming up next week, I'm staying in St. Louis because I spent some time on the hill. We'll talk about that next week because I went to another place called Milos, and then I'll be doing some stuff in Indianapolis. And then after the 2 episodes in Indianapolis on social, we'll then be heading back to New York and doing a bunch of stuff around New York and New Jersey. So that's it for Ian and I on You Got to Try This. See you guys next week.